One of the most misunderstood situations when it comes to evaluating whether or not to start the tax deductible mortgage strategy now or to wait until renewal comes around the calculation of what a payout penalty would be. So many Canadians are intimidated by having such a large payout penalty, some of which are upwards in the $15,000, $20,000 range, depending on the size of the mortgage. But what they do is they're just focused on that number and they're not looking at the real math. And that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be taken into consideration. It's a substantial amount of money. But for an example, a client that we spoke to today had a $15,000 penalty or approximately, but because of what is called an interest rate differential, which is the reason why you have the penalty in the first place, the actual net savings of interest is going to be over $13,000. So the actual real net cost of doing the strategy now would be $2,000 on the mortgage itself. However, this is allowing that client to get into the strategy 4 years sooner. Well, there is only a 12-year mortgage freedom date on the strategy. So if you start it 4 years later, you are going to pay 4 years of extra mortgage payments. It just simply does not make sense. However, it doesn't mean that we do not take it into consideration. We don't do the calculation, but more often than not, it always makes sense because the definition of an interest rate differential means that the bank is being paid for that difference in interest rate or the interest that they're losing by discharging your mortgage, but realize that you're getting the savings on the other end. So it's important to assess both the net interest cost, but more importantly, the opportunity cost, which is difficult sometimes to articulate, of starting the strategy sooner rather than later, because the whole benefit and the whole goal of this strategy is to become mortgage free sooner. So take into account both assessments, which we happily do as a team to have you be as 100% confident and comfortable to move forward. But don't be intimidated and scared if you see a large mortgage penalty.